So we're ready to learn how to quilt grid lines. This is a fun design to stitch both with your walking foot and in free motion. Today I'd like to show you how to do this with your walking foot. So the first thing to do is have your lines prepared. This is easy in the center of my block where I have this plaid fabric, and I'm just stitching along these lines as I go from the center to the outside. But in the outside, I've got this diagonal grid marked. It's a 1/2 inch grid that I marked using a stencil and a long ruler. And I really think that this is important. Yes, there are some guides, yes, you can use your foot to a degree, but really having all the lines marked allow you, just to quilt through it so much quicker, to knock out the lines as they go. And let me show you what I mean by that. First, I'm going to stitch right across. And as I'm stitching across, I'm already kind of keeping an eye looking for the next line I'm going to be stitching along. What I'm trying to avoid a whole ton of travel stitching. I don't want to do lots and lots of it if I don't need to. And I'm also wanting to avoid thread breaks. So I don't want to have to break my thread every time I stitch across this block. So right here, I can just stitch down just 2 stitches, and I can connect with one of these outer border lines. And that's what I'm going to do. Just 2 stitches down, connect with this line, and stitch straight on down. And you can see I've done this already quite a bit. I've got several lines that are stitched through in the borders of this block, and it looks rather random, and it is. I'm not really keeping up or keeping any kind of dedicated path. What I'm assuming is that as I stitch through this and work my way through the center block, I'm going to knock out a lot of these outer lines too. And when I get to the end and the center is completely filled, I'll just simply focus and concentrate on these outer lines last. Here I had a line that went straight across and kind of very, very close to the line I was on, so I just grabbed it and stitched on down. And just like stitching those straight lines that we did in a previous video, this is very simple. The machine is guiding the quilt forward, the feed dogs are engaged. The thing that determines your stitch length is the setting on your machine, and I have mine set to 1.8 millimeters. For this block, I like that look. I think it looks really nice to have small, even stitches when stitching grid lines. So that knocked out another line. Where can I go next? Well, here's a line, and it's directly behind me. To minimize rotation, which is always nice, I'm going to just hit my reverse button and reverse right onto that line. If I need to, I can back up the needle, just kind of lift it up by rotating the hand wheel backwards and then drop it back down again. Get right in the middle of that line. I can stitch on down. So you can see it's just a little bit in the center. It's connecting with the lines on the outside. It's trying to knock out everything in as logical a progression as possible, but there's no right or wrong way of doing it. When I get the center filled in completely, I'm just going to travel stitch back and forth, filling in those outer lines. It's a lot of straight line quilting, and it is fairly slow. Take your time with grid lines and they're going to come out just perfect. It's a really, really beautiful design. It's worth marking so it looks perfect on your quilt. And of course, with a walking foot, you're going to have those perfect, even, beautiful stitches. So that's it for this walking foot video. I really hope that you learned a lot. If you have any questions about quilting grid lines over your quilts, definitely ask in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you. If you'd like to find many more walking foot videos, definitely click right here to find them at leahday.com, where you can also find a cool walking foot kit with many different feet to play with, including a pretty awesome low shank walking foot for your machine. So definitely check that out and start machine quilting today. Until next time, let's go quilt!